last time I restarted the game, it told me to enter my favorite time. I like 11 a.m. I think 11 a.m. is my favorite time. Ah, 11 a.m. Favorite time of day. Or could you simply not resist giving me the correct time again? It is certainly 11 p.m. currently. So no. After all, I know how much you enjoy setting the time correctly. Okay, now I'm curious how accurate 11 a.m. is. Let's use another slider to find out. It's very inaccurate. You know, can I just say, regardless of the accuracy of the clock, I'm having a great time adjusting these settings. I feel like I'm learning more about you and how you like things to be set. It's good to collect data. Wish we had more sliders. We've gone through all the sliders I have. Perhaps I can invent some new sliders and gather new data on you. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let me whip up a couple new ones up. Be ready the next time you boot up the game. Okay. This is the same slider as the beginning. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Got it. Is it just a slider so you stop adjusting the slider? I like there. Which of these two made up words below is the most appealing? Occuboinkle? Scrumtush. I like Occuboinkle. Please don't adjust the slider. Sure, bud. You know what time it is right now? Yes. Is the time that it is right now the correct time? Yes. What is time, anyway? Yes. Is there anything about yourself that you haven't told me? Yes. Help. No. Will you come back to visit me? Sure, man. Okay. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. Sure.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427.
Just the same
and
thing.
He pushed buttons.
The same thing. There's just the balloons
All of
now.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Get well someday.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bucket. Give me.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Thanks, man. Oh, the new content is gone.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Wait. Is there new dialogue for the whole game with the bucket?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
No.
telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
No.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the
bucket?
Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
The bucket.
How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
The bucket.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
So if I do the same endings again, oh, the balloons.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
What is that? Is that a collectible? Is it a collectible? Can I get it? I'm gonna get it.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these. Only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Got it. How do I get up, though? Oh, I'm in a vent. Oh. 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 This is new. This is different. Oh. Hello? I have a bucket.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful. Because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get...
Oh, no.
What's that? Who's there?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, no. What in the fuck was that?
All of his co-workers were gone.
So,
what did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Figurine
Perhaps he had simply
Finders
missed the
Committee
memo.
meeting today. So every ending has a bucket ending. So if I do that again with no bucket,
When Stanley came to a set of two
it
open
changes
doors, this was
all
not
the
correct way to
dialogue.
the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
Can I go
well.
that way with
Perhaps he
no
wanted to
bucket?
stop by the employee lounge first, just to
So I have to
admire
do
it.
all the endings twice
Yes,
with the
this
bucket.
room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first
I haven't
open
done
door on
like
his left.
any of the endings on the left side at all. I did those up
Stanley was so
there, and I
bad
did
at
the ones
following
over there on the
directions, It's
right.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Can I go in here without the bucket and see if there's a difference?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path
Oh.
that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. What you've done to me, this is all your fault.
He's such a dickhead. He's such a fucking asshole. So, I have a guide pulled up now for all of the endings, by the way.
All of his co-workers were gone.
So,
what did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlurines? Yes, I think I like that.
I like
Another
Stanlurine.
Stanlurine under your belt.
I like Stanlurine a lot.
Now listen carefully, this is important.
Shut up.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right. And if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
So,
but of course,
I'm wondering
the
if you can cheese
only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
I'm wondering if you can cheese this. So you can't cheese it. You can't cheese the baby game. I'll put a link in the description of someone getting that ending. I refuse to sit here and hit that button for 2 hours. And then there's another button where with a puppy that shows up, and you have to take care of both of them for another 2 hours, and then it actually does give you an ending. I'm not gonna do that. I don't have the patience. So, yeah. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Warehouse access plan. We need more planks. Produce 1 plank to allow ease of access past fence. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Construct new structurally sound bridge. Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Is this some kind of game? Nearby a fireplace. Private but smelly place for an important person. Gotta collect them all. There will be a reward for finding them all. Stop kidding yourselves. I want them so much. I want to go home. Can we find them? Bottom text. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, can I go back in this?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet.
Is there one in here? Ah.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines. And now I'm torn between Stanlurines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
God damn it.
Oh, Stanley. You didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Oh, no.
Stanley,
oh
I
no.
applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More
I have to hit buttons.
Talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
I don't know where the buttons are.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway.
No.
I'll tell you exactly what happened to them.
1.
I erased them.
2.
I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it,
3.
I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground,
4.
swallowing everyone inside.
This way.
Or I let it burn to a crisp.
Fuck.
I have to say this, though. This version of events has
Up
been
here?
rather amusing.
Up here.
Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the
fuck.
control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better.
Going.
My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
5.
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Oh no.
Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
You have 3 attempts remaining.
You have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did
Also,
you just
disabled.
assume
Enable
you saw
backup
the
power to
time
activate.
that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These number
5.
buttons, no, these colored ones.
5.
Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here.
Press any key to send power surge.
Why would you think that,
Console
Stanley?
disabled.
That this video game can be beaten? One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
This is all just nothing. 5.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for
Oh
you.
no.
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble.
2.
This is not a challenge.
1.
It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine.
Fail safe.
I'm going to destroy it first.
Goodbye, employee 4. Oh.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your friend life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count.
Well.
It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke.
Well, boys.
And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your
We're
inevitable
fucked.
life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
There we go. And now we're dead. Yikes.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
That's different. That's different.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Thanks, man. Big.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Big preach, man. Oh, hello.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figlureanlurines. Very soon, you'll collect
Yeah?
the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figlureanlurines. None of us can.
None of us can.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Yeah?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nah.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward
Damn right.
and willingly confront his death.
Death. I've already died so many times. You don't even fucking know. Oh, this is actually scary. End is never the end. Is never the end. Is never the end. Is never the end. Is never. Oh. Oh, I'm stuck.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise,
Oh.
he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
Oh.
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story.
Oh.
Trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is.
Ah.
Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Okay, well. That sucks. Oh?
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Oh?
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oh? I'm free. The Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now?
Nature painting.
Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Is this a map of the office layout? This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered through development. The core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. Is this like the the game development museum? Stanley's computer. There it is. Look at this. Look at this. Corridor. Pacing of this opening section was important to get right. The corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. Ah, interesting. I do love me some game design. I do love me some game design. The two doors. The set of two open doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once the room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction the room posed. Yes. The office. Look at that. Button sounds. Selection of sounds used throughout the game when the buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. It's that like Half-Life sounding noise. Office computers. Oh look, it's solitaire. Based on the work of the 2013 Stanley Parable team. Additional, these are all the dudes. The credits. Nice. There was a console, port apparently. Know that. Debbie Reedon and William Puh. The impeccable Kevin Brighting is the narrator. Nice. Not a lot of people worked on this game. It's very, very well made for such a small team. Ooh, oh, there's so many ways I can go. We'll go this way. A cool museum, the office. Maintenance room, an early version of the maintenance room. So I guess that's how developer textures actually look like in Source. That's really interesting. Look at this, look at all this. Fun. There's money, apparently. Look at that. The lounge. Early version of the lounge. Office. This the phone. The apartment timer. The previous version of the choice leading you to the apartment ending. A timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Interesting. Cargo lift was always intended to offer a choice of staying on and jumping at a different path. However, in the early version of the game, we also wanted the option of player following their death. This is what it used to look like. I see. Interesting. Second version is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we wanted it to look more like a place the cargo lift was actually stored. So many different ways for me to go. Maintenance layout. The flow of hallways following the first two doors was important to get right since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. Vent. The simplest one is, Interesting. This is actually really cool. Y'all know I love game design. I'm fucking going to college for game design. So many different fucking ways. What is this? Zending model. The Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon it and change it shortly before launch. The Zending. I don't think I've gotten this one yet. Game is now paused. Oh yeah, it says the sequel is now paused. Wow. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this is what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Yeah. There are levers that I cannot pull. Zending levers. These levers were originally part of the Zending. The player would never pull a lever, and then the narrator would describe what color they had pulled. Zending. Screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Giant button. That's so interesting. I love game design. There's fucking more. So much. There's a fucking left way we could go as well. What is this? This is the phone. We ran 4 major teaser trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. This is the first one released in May 2012. May of 2012? It features a series of broken rooms and the voice of the narrator informing viewers that he is repairing a new version of the Stanley Parable. Man, what was I doing in May 2012? I was fucking, like... I had just graduated high school, like, that month. Jesus. I'm fucking old, y'all. Fucking old woman. Is this the right side direction? The beginning? I think? Yes. This loops around. Okay. We'll start here then. Screenshots from the development of the boss's office. So this is obviously the first iteration of it. And this is the second iteration of it. Bookshelves. And then this one is the final. Oh, there's multiple ways to go here. There's even more ways to go. Narration outtakes. Kevin Brighting, the voice of the narrator, recorded
Stanley pushed the number 6.
Recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from the early take that were not used in the final.
He pushed the number 6.
Oh.
Nothing there. Shoot. Well, try the other one then.
It's really cool. Lounge. Underground. An early version of the underground portion of the game. Escape on the wall. It's the ending I'm doing right now, I think. Isn't it? Office clock. This is so neat. This is so neat. I'm having fun. The very first iteration of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. One of the deaths from the early version of the countdown ending. This is the freedom ending that existed in beta. Monitor room. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down. The freedom above and the countdown below. We abandoned it when players found it too difficult to remember which was up and which was down, and placed the 2 endings together instead. Got it. Or the version of the countdown room. I actually think I like this design more. Of course, I can understand having the thing in the middle to go around, though, to go through. Exit. I don't want to exit. A little bit more shit. Game design mock-up. This is the level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. Strength of this level got William hired to design the full game, but much of the environment has changed. The basic layout of the mock-up is still in the game. Cool. Cool. Man. We have not been in this room. Narrator emails. After the second trailer, we sent out and asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned for these further promotional materials, we never found a perfect use for them. Here are the selection of those emails. Nice. You're born in a magnificent voice, or you funny. I love game design, yo. Look at this. Stanley's office. On the left provides the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November 2011, second in March 2012, and the third in February 2013. This was the first. It just looks like any of the other offices. The desk looks like it's bigger. Less computers. Painting on the wall. Man, game design is my favorite. Super duper cool. Actually a cool.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me.
We're back here
You can
again.
still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
I died. We're going down this
Coming
time.
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
The final one. What is this? Hi, Lonnie. I wrote this in first period and left it in your locker on the way to second. It's what all the cool kids are doing. I've decided. Write one back. Also, here's an idea for something to draw. 2 cats on a motorcycle. Hey, it's a good idea. What are all the cool kids are actually doing is sending each other pages in their beepers? Lockers. I can't tell. But we're cooler than them because guess what? I can't read the rest of it. My old lady
And there it
eyes.
is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
Yes.
Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment.
Good.
This is doing something just for the sake of doing
Yep.
it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Hate collectibles in games. So dumb.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
Oh,
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
It's an infinite hallway.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at
Infinite
all.
hallway.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control.
Yeah.
That this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job, All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Okay.
Stanley began screaming.
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
And everything went black.
That's me. Me when I'm having a panic attack.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh. Is this the...
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings...
Is this
and
the...
walked
yeah.
out to work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Yeah.
She had no time.
You're not
for
in
this.
control at
So it was
all.
only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
You didn't call the cops? You didn't call the cops about dead Stanley?